Welcome back to the Haven Family Farm. Today we are working in our strawberry patch here. You can see we have the frost blanket on. We had below 30 degrees last night and a heavy frost. Tonight's going to be worse again. So unfortunately I can't really show you what's going on here. But there are rows of strawberry plants here, over 2,000 in here. And they are in the raised plastic beds that we use the machine to lay the plastic and make the bed. We also have the ability to lay drip tape at the same time, which is kind of what today's video is about. I know I've talked to a few people in the past about in their gardens or small fields, irrigation stuff, and it's not as expensive as people think it is. So I just want to show you a couple basic things here today. So here we have some 3/4 inch poly tubing. This is what our main line is that runs to each of the rows. Let's see, here's our drip tape. Let me dig it out of the ground here. What I do when I lay the drip tape is I actually will take and get a big 10 or 12 inch spike, and you can see some holes in here. What I'll do is I'll double this over on itself and then I spike it to the ground, because sometimes what happens as the plastic layer moves forward, the drip tape will sometimes want to pull on the roll rather than staying behind, so that spike provides a little bit of tension. Now, if you wanted to do this in your garden at home or a field, you can unroll the drip tape by hand, you can lay plastic by hand, whatever you need to do. You do not need equipment. This drip tape is not that expensive. This whole system is not that expensive, but it will last for years, and a lot of the parts are reusable. So the first thing I'm going to do here, because I stabbed holes in it with the spike, is I'm going to take, and I always leave a little extra at the end of the row. So I'm going to take a pair of scissors. I'm going to try and do this while I'm recording. And I'm just going to kind of cut this down to size. These are not the best scissors. There we go. So now this damaged piece is gone. So the next thing we're going to do, I got a little basket of tools here I'm working with, trying to keep track of the garbage and stuff. So, okay. So what we're going to do here is we're basically putting a shut-off valve. So you can shut off each row of strawberries, or if you had a system hooked up and each row was a different vegetable, whatever you wanted, here's a shut-off valve. This is going to go from your drip tape to your main line. So in order to get it into the main line, here's the end here. You can see it's tapered. There's kind of a seal. We just have a basic tool here. This does have a little bit of an edge on it. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this edge and we're going to line it up, and we're going to stab a hole in our main line right here. So I don't know if I can do that. Find a place to put the camera here. Okay, so there's our hole. So now we're just going to take this end. We're going to take this end and we're going to work it into that hole. It takes a second. It's a tight fit in there. Okay, so we got that in there. It's nice and snug. Now, if you needed to move that, or you wanted to save this, reuse it, whatever, it will pop back out and pop back in. So not a problem there. So now the other end here, we want to turn this all the way in towards the valve. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our drip tape and we'll open it up, which I can't really do with one hand here hardly. Sorry. This was a last minute video, but I thought it was worthwhile for people to know this simple system. So there is our drip tape. That will fit over the end of here. So again, don't know if I can show you, but we're going to shove this over the end of here. Okay, so we got that hooked up. Now, in order to keep that from pulling off, what we do is we take this and we turn it back the other direction, and it will tighten it down. Now I'm going to need 2 hands for this, because as you start to get this tight, it'll want to spin the drip tape, and you want to make sure that white line stays up. So I need 2 hands. Okay guys, and that's it. The drip tape obviously will inflate, and that's all hooked up. So all nice and snug there, and again, you can turn that on and off. So very simple system. I have left these out in the winter time and have never had any of them crack. I think a lot of that's because the drip tape has holes in it, so it allows the moisture to escape rather than get stuck in there like a garden hose and expand. Again, the beauty of a system like this, and I'll show you the connection when I get done with doing these rows, is on a very, very small pump, you can easily run, like if you were going to pump from a creek or a pond or something, you could run acres off of one small little pump. You do not need a big trash pump or anything like that because this is such a low pressure system. Again, we used to run 2 acres off a small little pump. So let me finish doing these and then I'll show you the final connections. We're going to connect ours to a hose. We have a 3/4 inch garden hose that's running down to our barn. Right here is a filter system. So if you are pumping from a pond or a creek or something, there's a filter strainer in there that you can clean. There is a valve there you can open that will, kind of like a bypass, it will help clean some of the filter, but this piece here just will unscrew and you can clean it. It's stainless steel, I believe, screen in there. So then that comes down and we have a pressure regulator here. I believe that's just 12 psi. And then we hook right into our main line that goes up, and we do have a secondary gauge there just to double check the pressure. That just runs through the fence and then runs up to our rows there. So let's go ahead and turn this on and see what happens. Okay, so I just wanted to bring you here to the end of one of these rows just to show you. You can see this guy is dripping a little bit here. It's full. Here's one of our strawberry plants. I peeled the plastic back. So basically on the end here, all you do is take your drip tape and fold it up 3 or 4 times. And there's a little plastic piece we slide over. I mean, there's, you know, you can put a hose clamp. There's a lot of different little things you can do. But this is what finishes off the end of your row, because way down there is where our main line runs up. So all of these are just laterals coming off that main line, so they need to be capped. Otherwise, you'll just be gushing water out the end. So that's how I cap it. And we'll go over where I got this equipment from here at the end. But right now we're letting everything pressurize. All these rows have to pressurize. It'll probably take about 10 minutes, depending on the size of your area. You know, I showed you that gauge. Don't be alarmed right away if it doesn't go right up to pressure, because all the lines have to pressurize. All the air has to get out before that gauge is going to read what you need it to read. So I'm going to cover this up and we'll go check and see what our gauge says. Okay, you can see our pressure gauge there. We're up to 10 psi. It's probably going to climb a hair more than that yet. We'll have to keep an eye on it since we're using the hose and the faucet. If we had to, we could turn the faucet down a little bit. Yeah, it's still creeping. The pressure regulator is there to help, but you can overpower it with too much pressure, so don't just rely on that completely. So I've checked everything for leaks, and everything looks good, but I do want to share a rookie mistake with you that I made. YouTube and this video are about education, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. So after I came back from checking all my main valves, and then I went all the way down the end and I checked all my ends were good, no leaks anywhere. I came back. Oh, our pressure dropped off just a little bit there. And I didn't have any pressure whatsoever. So if the pressure continues to drop, I may have to check one other location. There was a few spots where I had to patch drip tape together, and those connections possibly could come loose. I'm not sure why that would drop quite so much there. But I'll let you know. Or it could just be our water well, the pump needs to kick on because the pressure went down. At any rate, the next thing I want to talk about before we get back to that is, so the rookie mistake I made, the pressure regulator and this filter system are directional. So for some reason I put this in backwards. So while it was allowing water to go through, it was not the correct amount of water. So if you'll take note here on the top, there, I don't know if you can see it or not, it says the word flow is there with an arrow, and we need to go that way, so we are. Same thing with this guy, there's an arrow pointing the correct direction. So don't make the rookie mistake like I did. Make sure everything is hooked up, flowing the correct direction there. So yep, it looks like our water pump has kicked in and our pressure built back up to 10, so we're good there. By water pump, I mean our well. If you're using a pump out of a pond or a creek, you won't have any fluctuation really, because you'll set your throttle where it needs to be and it'll just run there. So there we go. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this quick video. Drip irrigation can be very simple. I get all my stuff from a place called rain-flo Irrigation. They are in Pennsylvania, East Earl, I think. But if you look them up, they have a website. And sorry about the sun here. Maybe I can turn if that's a little better. They can send you out a catalog. They do have a catalog online as well where you can order parts, but they are extremely knowledgeable. So if you have a specific setup that you're looking for, so many rows of this and that, elevation, whatever, distances, you can call them and they will help you. I bought a overhead irrigation system from them, 6 huge overhead sprinklers. Each one will do a 150-foot diameter circle. And they helped me plan out the system, what kind of lay flat hose I would need, pump everything. We actually don't use this system much because we ended up switching to drip tape, but they are very knowledgeable and they can help you, and they ship very quickly. They are not sponsoring me for this video at all, nothing free, but I like to give credit where credit is due, and those folks down there are absolutely great to work with. We get all of our plastic drip tape fittings, these frost blankets you see behind me, all that stuff comes from them. To be honest, I've never compared prices between them and other people, because to me, when you find somebody, I know they're not way overpriced anyway, but when you find somebody that can offer the service that you need, I tend to stick with them. I'm not one of those people that's going to go ask a bunch of questions at one place and then get all the information I need and then go somewhere cheaper to buy the stuff. You know, maybe one part here or there if they didn't have it or something, but I like to stick with them. So give them a call, look them up online if you need anything, and they'd be happy to help you. These systems are super easy to set up. They do not use the same amount of water that overhead does. It is much, much more efficient irrigation, and it is much better for your plant material. When you have situations where water is just constantly sitting on your plants, maybe you're in a hot, dry climate or something, and you need to water a lot, diseases can set in with constant wetness on the leaves and the branches, and you know, if you have fruit or vegetables, you know, it just makes it much more susceptible for disease. So again, this is much more efficient and healthier for the plants. So as I end this video, I am not an expert on drip irrigation. We've been doing it for 4 or 5 years. We've done some overhead. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have about sort of setting things up. One thing I did forget to mention is the setup over here that we have, that I showed you with the filter and the pressure reducer. We have another setup that I will show you next year that is a little different than that, and it will inject fertilizer into the line. So as you irrigate, you can fertilize, but right now we have fertilizer in the field that we're going to use up, that we don't need to worry about the liquid. But there is that option as well. Super simple to set up, and I'll show you guys that next year, because we're at the end of the year here. We're just doing some final watering. So again, rambled on long enough. Questions, leave it in the comment section down below. If you don't have a question, just say hi. I'd be happy to respond to you. I like meeting people from around the world. It's great, and I have so to speak, met people from all over the place, different countries, and it's fantastic, guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you watching the videos. If you wouldn't mind on your way out the door, just hitting that thumbs up, the bell icon, and the subscribe button for me. I do try and work hard at these videos, and would appreciate if you wouldn't mind subscribing so we can jump the count a little bit. All right, so thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the next video.